all those who know Islam better disagree with David Wood. All authorities, either scholars and Islamic law, as well as those who know Islam sufficiently well, disagree with David Wood. Essentially, our brother David Wood was presenting misinformation, erroneous claims. Quite simply, David Wood was wrong, badly wrong. David, I don't want to prolong your agony and embarrassment. I'm sure you realize your mistake that you've made here, but I do ask you to lend me your ears for a few more moments, please, please. Let me make a few suggestions, friendly being the operative word. I'm not forcing you to take up these suggestions, but I believe it would be prudent for you to do so. Please do so. I believe you got this misinformation or these false claims from a Christian website. I'm not going to say which one I believe it to be, but this is my gut feeling, not a fact. But if this is the case, then I ask you to go to the website that you got this misinformation from. Let them know that they are wrong. Ask them to remove their misguided claims from circulation before it misleads, beguiles and misguides others, just like it misled you and beguiled and misguided you, and it threw you into the arena of manifest error. It really did. I also ask you to do something else, brother. I ask you to apologize to my Christian friends, as you were presenting misinformation primarily to them. So please do this. And finally, I ask you to apologize to the Muslim community who have been deeply hurt by these false claims of yours. But I'm an individual who likes to end on positive notes. I feel we can learn a great deal of wisdom from this. We can realize that this unfortunate episode teaches us that we should learn Islam from the Muslims. Go to your local Islamic center if you're looking into Islam. Go to authorities in Islam, scholars, those who know Islam well, learned Muslims. Ask them questions. And the Muslims also realize that they should be on their guard against misinformation about Islam. There's a lot of propaganda, false propaganda out there about Islam that's being propagated by those who do not like Islam.
Why?
Well, I just want to say something first, David. Very interesting video, and you are humiliated and prolonging your agony and humiliation. And it's very interesting because perhaps this Yahya Snow this is interpretation of Surah 9:29, until they feel themselves humiliated.
Yeah, trying to humiliate me.
Go ahead, Brother David.
Well, I don't know how I'll ever recover from such an amazing and devastating critique.
Muslims, please send sympathy cards, attention David Wood, to ABN.
Yes. I suppose I'm deranged from even attempting to reply, but I will. By the way, that picture, the picture he was showing of me, that was from a debate at University of California, Davis versus a Muslim named Ali Atay, if you want to watch that debate online. It was a pretty fun one. Now, think about what this young Muslim is claiming. I haven't done my research. In fact, he says I haven't done the slightest bit of research on this issue, and that if I had, well, I'd see that Islam condemns sex with prepubescent girls. Now, the problem I have with that is that claim is absolutely false. If you go to any of the Muslim sources, you find what I'm saying. And notice, even though he's saying, if you go to the 4 schools and this and that, where did he actually give you a reference to a trusted Muslim source?
He didn't give one specific reference.
He didn't give one place where you could actually go and look up what he's saying. We could call this lack of references syndrome in Islam.
Yeah.
I find it constantly among Muslim apologists.
Absolutely.
They'll say, oh, this is in the Hadith, and this is in the Quran, and this is in the commentaries. Where is it in the commentaries? Because I never find that in the commentaries. So think about this. He said 4 schools. Well, what are the 4 schools? What do all 4 schools base their interpretations on? They base it, for the most part, on the Quran and the Hadith. So let's look at the Quran and the Hadith and see what the Quran and the Hadith declare on this issue, and we'll also consider 3 of the greatest Muslim commentaries on this issue and see where the truth lies. First of all, the most important verse in the Quran is Surah 65, verse 4. Let me read it to you. And as for those of your women who have despaired of menstruation, so women who don't menstruate anymore because they're too old, if you have a doubt, their prescribed time shall be 3 months. So this is talking about if you're divorcing a woman and she doesn't menstruate anymore because she's too old, what do you do? What's the prescribed waiting period before divorcing her? And it says 3 months. And of those who have not had their courses, those who haven't had their period yet, and as for pregnant women, their prescribed time is that they lay down their burden, and whoever is careful of his duty to Allah, He will make easy for him his affair. So you have 3 categories of women here. Women who are too old to have their period, women who are too young to have their period, and women who are pregnant. And it gives a prescribed waiting period for divorcing these women. Let me give you one more translation, the Halali Khan translation, because they actually include a little bit of commentary as to what this verse means. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, for them the iddah, prescribed period, if you have doubts about their periods, is 3 months. And for those who have no courses, i.e. they are still immature, their iddah is 3 months likewise. So it says girls who are too young to have their periods and you're divorcing them, you wait 3 months. You have a 3-month waiting period. Now why is this important? Well, according to the Quran, Surah 33, verse 49, if you have not had sex with a girl and you divorce her, there is no waiting period. There is no waiting period. If you haven't touched her yet, you can divorce her immediately. So if there's a waiting period, then that presupposes you have had sex with her. And if this verse of the Quran, Surah 65:4, is laying down rules about the waiting period of girls who have not menstruated yet, they haven't reached the age of puberty, this presupposes that you've had sex with girls who have not yet reached the age of puberty. But I understand, I'm a Christian, and Muslims don't trust me, so if you don't trust me, I would assume that you would trust Ibn Kathir, considered the greatest commentator on the Quran of all time. Let's see what he says, commenting on this verse. He says, Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause. And that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. The same for the young, talking about young girls, the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. So girls who are too young to menstruate, their waiting period, if you're going to divorce them after having sex with them, is 3 months. Ibn Kathir declares that my interpretation of this verse is the correct one. The greatest commentator of all time says this verse means that after you've had sex with a prepubescent girl, you have to wait 3 months before divorcing her. If that's not enough, one of the other most famous commentaries of all time, Tafsir Jalalain, commenting on this verse, and as for those of your women who no longer expect to menstruate, if you have any doubts about their waiting period, their prescribed waiting period shall be 3 months. And also for those who have not yet menstruated because of their young age, their period shall also be 3 months. So the two Jalals agree completely with whose interpretation? My interpretation. If that's not enough, Ibn Abbas. If you're a Muslim, how can you doubt Muhammad's companion, Ibn Abbas, the founder of Quranic studies? What does he say? And for such of your women as despair of menstruation because of old age, if ye doubt about their waiting period, their period of waiting shall be 3 months. Upon which another man asked, so he's given the historical context, what was happening when this verse was being revealed. Upon which another man asked, O Messenger of Allah, what about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation because they are too young? Along with those who have it not because of their young age, their waiting period is 3 months. So the historical situation that this verse was revealed in was someone raised his hand while Muhammad's revealing the verse and says, Muhammad, what about girls who are so young, they haven't even reached the age of puberty? If I want to divorce them after having sex with them, what's the waiting period? Quran says 3 months. Notice the Quran doesn't say, what are you talking about? Don't you know that in Islam you're not allowed to have sex with young girls? How dare you? Don't you know that several centuries later, Yahya